You know that feeling? You walk into an animal shelter, look into all those hopeful eyes, and you just wonder, are you the one? It's a massive decision, right? Not just for you, but for that dog too. Well, today, we're going to dive into the incredible science and, honestly, the pure compassion that goes into making that perfect, life-changing match.
It really all boils down to this one simple question. It's the question every single shelter worker and every potential adopter has to ask themselves. When you're looking at that sweet face, how do you really know their story? How can you tell if they're going to fit into your life, your home, your family?
And let's be real, the stakes couldn't be higher. For a family, it's all about bringing a safe, loving companion into the house. But for the dog, it's often their last, best shot at finding a forever home. Getting this match right, well, it changes absolutely everything for everyone.
So how do shelters get past just a gut feeling or a hopeful guess? Well, they use a proven scientific tool. It's designed to replace all that guesswork with real, solid information you can actually use. And it's called the SAFER assessment. SAFER. That stands for Safety Assessment for Evaluating Rehoming. It was actually developed by Dr. Emily Weiss to give shelters a consistent, super reliable way to understand a dog's real personality, what might trigger them, and what unique needs they have before they get placed in a new home.
Okay, but does it actually work? Oh yeah. The research comparing assessed dogs to unassessed dogs, the results are just staggering. Take a look. Reports of a dog growling at a human, it dropped from 10 cases down to just 1. Nipping, from 14 down to 4. And this is the big one. Bites that actually break the skin, it went from 2 down to 0. A big fat 0. The assessment is clearly making a life-saving difference.
So what does this assessment actually look like? First off, it's not some scary high-pressure test. You should think of it more like a structured conversation, where a trained pro is just trying to figure out who this dog really is and what they need to feel safe and happy. It all starts right here. Everything is set up to get a really clear, honest picture of the dog's true personality. The whole thing happens in a quiet, calm room, far away from all the noise and stress of the kennels. The goal is simple. Let the dog relax and just show us who they really are.
And to make sure everything is safe and totally consistent, the assessment uses standardized tools like this thing called the Assess a Hand. This lets the testers see how a dog reacts to things like someone getting near their food bowl, but in a way that's safe, humane, and exactly the same every single time. That consistency is just crucial for reliable results.
Now, the people doing these assessments, they're highly trained and certified. And maybe their most important skill is what's called objective observation. They're not just guessing if a dog is happy or angry. No way. They are trained to see and record specific body language, like a loose body or a hard eye, which gives a factual, unbiased basis for the results.
And this 7-part assessment is incredibly thorough. I mean, it looks at a dog's comfort level with pretty much everything you can think of, from being handled and touched to how they react around food and toys, and even how they do meeting a brand new dog. It's a super comprehensive look at how they might act in a real home environment. But here's the absolute most important thing to get about all this. The SAFER assessment is not about a dog passing or failing. It is not a judgment call. Right. The goal is to diagnose, not to label. It's about figuring out what an individual dog truly needs to succeed. Are they a little fearful of new people? Maybe a little sensitive about being touched on their back? This is the kind of info that makes all the difference in finding the right home. So, based on the results, a dog is guided onto one of 3 main paths. Some are good to go, immediately ready for adoption. Others are flagged as needing a bit of behavior support to work through some specific issues. And a third group might need some careful, ongoing management in their future home. The point is, each path is totally tailored to that specific dog.
And this is where the assessment really becomes something special. The information isn't just filed away in a cabinet. It becomes a real, concrete action plan to help each and every dog put their best paw forward. So for example, let's say the assessment shows a dog is touch sensitive. They don't just get labeled unadoptable. Nope. Instead, they get enrolled in a targeted behavior modification plan. This might mean pairing a gentle touch near that sensitive spot with a super yummy treat, slowly helping them build a positive association and, eventually, learn to enjoy affection. And they have proven positive reinforcement programs for all the most common challenges you see in shelter dogs. Things like food guarding, fearful behavior, play that's a little too rough, or being reactive around other dogs. This assessment is really the first step to getting them the exact help they need.
And their progress is meticulously tracked in a behavior log. This isn't just guesswork. It's a totally data-driven process where trainers can see exactly what's working, what kind of treats the dog responds to, and how close they are to reaching their goal. It's professional, compassionate care at its best.
So, what's the big picture effect of all this work? Well, when you combine these science-backed assessments with targeted, compassionate support, the results are, well, they're truly transformative. The program's reliability is pretty remarkable. After a new certification program for the assessors was put in place, a study looked at 3,000 dogs that were transported between shelters. And get this, only 3%, just 3%, scored differently on their assessment at the new facility. That is some incredible consistency.
And the end result? It's exactly what everyone is hoping for. Shelters that use Safer report way fewer aggression complaints after adoption, more adoptions overall, and, most importantly, better, more successful and lasting matches between the dogs and their new families.
Because at the end of the day, that's what this is all about, isn't it? It's about using the best tools we have, blending objective science with deep, real compassion to create thousands upon thousands of happy endings. For every single dog that comes into a shelter, especially the older ones, the shy ones, the ones who've been waiting for what feels like forever, this detailed caring process is basically a promise.
It's a promise that they'll be seen for who they truly are, that their needs will be understood, and that everything possible will be done to make sure their next home is their forever home. It's a promise that says, hey, you're going to be okay.